book club, but we're here today. You can't join our book club,
And that's all that really matters in the end.
you can't join our book club. I'm kind of hungry again. You can't join our book club.
I'm not, but I'm sorry you feel that way.
Book club, book club, book club, book club, book. Oh, it's a book club. Yeah. Hey everybody,
Hello.
welcome to the show.
This is the show. You can't join our book club, the podcast, hosted by you and also me.
Yeah,
Your name is, that's where you go.
I'm Tim.
Yeah. And my name is, that's where you go.
I'm Tim.
Yeah. Also, I'm Joey. We're talking about a book today, a very, I was going to say important book. I don't think it's important. I think it's cool.
It's cool.
And it might be important. I don't know.
It has something to say. It's a good sci-fi book. I feel like it inspired a lot of other works. So I'd say, at least in the sci-fi space, it's important.
Yeah.
What is we're talking
book?
today about The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells, a book that I've been excited to read for a long time. Glad to finally get around to reading it. I really haven't read much Wells. I read part of War of the Worlds and I never finished it. And I need to. I want to.
It's a good one.
It was back in high school.
And yeah, because I think I got you to read that.
Right.
And then you apparently...
I didn't finish it. Yeah.
20 years later, I find out that you have failed me.
I was really bad about reading books back then. So I'd love to revisit that now, especially after having read this and enjoying it as much as I have. So, but yeah, let's jump into it. Let's see. Let's talk about what the cover says first.
Oh, yes.
Would you mind reading that, since I apparently don't have my copy in here?
Of course. Wow, you're such a bad
So
host.
unprepared.
H.G. Wells, The Invisible Man. A stranger emerges out of a freezing February day with a request for lodging in a cozy provincial inn. Who is this out-of-season traveler? More confounding is the thick mask of bandages obscuring his face. Why is he disguised in such a manner? What keeps him hidden in his room? The villagers, aroused by trepidation and curiosity, bring it upon themselves to find the answers. What they discover is not only a man trapped in the terror of his own creation, but a chilling reflection of the unsolvable mysteries of their own souls. That's, I feel like that's maybe reading into it a bit too much.
I mean, yeah, probably a little bit.
But it sounds cool.
I mean, I don't think it's totally inaccurate. Like, reflecting on the book, it has some stuff to say.
Yeah.
So first, to jump into our drink before we go into our more spoiler version of the description of the book, we have here a very classic martini. I have renamed it for the purposes of this book.
Okay.
It's called, wait for it, The Almost Invisible Cat.
Okay.
And the reason behind that being that the drink itself is clear.
That is true.
And then you've got the cat's eyes, which are the olives that are garnishing it.
Ah, yes.
So basically the reasoning behind picking this, I mean, I thought that would be fun. I wanted a clear drink, very on the nose. I liked the idea of part of it being very visible in the cat's eyes. Like that's a big part of the book, where they're talking about like his trying to figure out how to make things invisible. And another reason I chose this, it was a popular drink at the time the book was written. One of the few cocktails that seemed to be big at the time. And yeah, I wanted to do something slightly different from what we've done in the previous ones. We've pretty much stayed on the vodka train. This is gin.
Yeah.
So like I said, very standard martini. It's 1 part dry vermouth and 2 parts, or actually 3 parts gin. So
Well, I must tell you, I have never had a martini before. shaken nor stirred.
This is shaken, just so you know.
I don't even know the difference. I'm assuming it's just you shook it.
Yeah, I put it in a shaker and shook it with ice and then poured it. So
all right.
that's what we got here.
Let's dive in real quick.
I'll tell you what, I've never liked martinis, so this is not really for me.
Yeah.
Can you make a better martini than what I have made here? For sure. Probably if you buy some higher quality ingredients, but I don't think it's bad. I don't dislike it.
Oh, it's just very much only alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is not what I usually get in my drinks.
Yeah. I was a little surprised when I was looking at how they're made. I didn't realize it was 3 parts gin and only 1 part vermouth, which is, and vermouth, I mean, that's just like a wine basically. So like, yeah, it's not as strong as like a liquor, but it's still alcohol.
Yes, it is.
But
and it tastes like it.
It does very much.
That is alcohol we are drinking.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna jump into a more spoilery version of the description of this book. Let me talk here a little bit about that.
Have at it.
So the book starts with the Invisible Man, which is not specified in the beginning. He's just a stranger, but he's staggering in out of the snow. He finds an inn where he's seeking refuge. He requests a room, tries to wrap up by the fire and like, you know, get himself all warm. The innkeeper lady, she tries to take his coat and his hat, and he's like, absolutely not, not gonna happen. And she's like kind of off put by that. We're feeling all this, like it's kind of like third person, but it's largely viewed from the perspective of the townspeople, at least at the beginning. And so we go on to find out like he's all wrapped up in bandages. He's got a shiny nose, and people are just kind of like, "What's going on with this guy? This is like weird."
And if I can step in for a moment,
yeah.
If you have seen the 1933 Universal film, The Invisible Man, it is extremely faithful in the beginning to how it starts.
Yeah, it definitely starts off exactly how it's described. I mean,
yeah,
Blizzard, he's all wrapped up. Everybody's like, what the heck?
Yeah, it's I'm sure we'll talk about the films a bit later, because we did watch quite a few of them.
We did indeed.
But yeah, just know, if you are familiar with the film, the beginning of this book, it'll be a bit of an easy read,
right?
You already know what to expect.
Yeah. And so people are kind of speculating about what's going on. They think maybe he's on the run from the law, and that's why his face is all wrapped up. They start, like, some of them think maybe, oh, he's been in some sort of accident, and that's why he's all bandaged up, which I feel like is a very reasonable go-to. Like, bandages, maybe he got hurt. But he like makes excuses early on, like, oh, my eyes are sensitive, I want to keep the lights off. That's why I have the curtains drawn. I don't want to be disturbed because, you know, I've been in an accident. I don't want people to bother me. I'm here to do experiments because I'm a scientist, and I just want to be left alone. And so very early on, he is not really left alone. And it's understandable why he's not. It's very reasonable things, like, oh, I'm here to take your coat so that I can, like, put that somewhere to dry. Yeah. I'm here to bring you food.
I'm here to bring you your mustard.
Yeah. I forgot your mustard. Here you go. But like, right off the bat, when they're bringing him food in the very first time we're, like, talking to him, they see, like, part of his face is, like, uncovered, and he quickly pulls up a napkin to, like, hide it. And they're like, well, that's weird. So a lot of the beginning is the innkeeper talking to her husband and other people from the town about this kind of weird guy that's staying here, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. And weeks go by, and he starts not paying his bills. And they're like, hey, you have to pay your bills or we're going to kick you out. And he's like, no, I'll get the money. Like, you can't kick me out. Basically, like, have a heart, whatever. But it starts to escalate from there. The husband comes in and kind of tries to like start kicking him out. And this is when the Invisible Man starts to really like mess with people.
Yeah, he's a funny little guy.
Yeah.
Such a rascal, I think.
A bit of a rascal.
The best word, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's doing things as it goes on, he's doing things like pinching people's nose with his invisible hand and like scaring people by taking off the wrappings on his face and stuff like that. So, pretty quickly people start to say, there's nobody in those clothes. And then it's really funny because they think the clothes are like possessed and stuff. Their instinct is not to say that he's invisible, but rather that there's just nothing in there. So time goes on. He kind of escapes what's going on there. And by this point, you found out that he's been robbing places and generally committing crimes to fund what he's doing. And so all the townspeople have gathered up to kind of like trap him and I guess try him.
Yeah.
And he's like, nope. And he like fights him a little bit and escapes, pushes people, and kind of moves on. But he needs some of the stuff that's in his room, and so they're like trying to investigate what he's been doing. Yeah. And so he sneaks in to get his like books. Those are the main thing that he needs because they have all of his notes.
Yeah. He has like 3 diaries that contain all of the like formulas and whatnot for how he became invisible and hopefully how he can fix it.
Yeah.
With what work he's done so far.
And that's the most important part, because one of his main goals, especially at the beginning, is to find a way to become visible, because he has done all of this and turned himself invisible without knowing a way to make himself visible again. He just kind of figured he'd take care of that afterwards. And so he breaks in to steal these. There are some people there. He like forces them to take their clothes off and like ties them up and gets away with all his books and stuff. Basically runs off. But at this point, he has recruited a local vagabond to help him in his mission.
Yeah, Mr. Marvel.
Yeah, Thomas Marvel.
Thomas Marvel.
And so a lot of like he recruits this guy. This guy's not necessarily against it at first, but he's not super jazzed about helping him. It's more of like he's been coerced into helping. So, he's waiting outside to get the books. The Invisible Man gives them to him. They start to go on a spree around the countryside, stealing things and collecting stuff. And eventually Thomas Marvel is like, and now I'm going to steal all of it. And so he like tries to run off with all the stuff. But of course the Invisible Man chases him into this bar where he seeks refuge. And the Invisible Man comes in trying to kill him. Some people take shots at him. It escalates quite a bit. He does get grazed, but not severely injured or anything. And this brings us to probably one of the biggest things that happens in the book, which is he stumbles across the home of Dr. Kemp. And this is someone that he was in school with. Kemp was many years ahead, but he kind of knows him. It's like a professional acquaintance. And so he's like trying to convince Kemp to help him out. And at this point, Kemp kind of knows that bad things are going on. There have been a lot of rumors circulating about an invisible man. He didn't buy into them, but now that he sees that there is one, he's kind of not excited about helping him out, but he doesn't want to let him know that because it's obvious that Griffin is his name, is not doing well.
Yeah, he's not all there anymore. which we learn is due to the experiments, obviously. And so this is probably a thing that happened a lot just with me reading the book a few times, but also watching all of the movies. I feel like I picked up some facts from the movies that may not be in the book and vice versa.
Absolutely.
But I do believe they were talking about the like initial experiments with like the chemicals and the processes that he was using. Those were used to turn a fabric invisible or something like that.
Yeah.
And it just sort of, it turned it white and then it just kind of like destroyed it.
Yeah, basically bleached and destroyed, yeah.
And then next course of action, obviously, tested on a dog.
That was from the movie.
That's the movie?
In the book, so the first thing he does with it is he finds a way to turn a rag invisible.
Yes, actually. Oh, I remember now.
And then he turns a cat invisible, which is where the name of my cocktail comes from.
Because his neighbor thinks that he's torturing a cat.
Yeah, her cat, actually.
Yeah, which kind of is, yeah. But she can't tell because it's invisible.
Yeah, he lets her in and she looks around and can't see the cat. So she's like, well, I guess there's no cat here. But yeah, so he's like describing kind of how invisibility works. And it's interesting the way Wells talks about this. I like it. It's basically he talks about, which I thought about using crushed ice in this drink to kind of mimic. Ooh. But he talks about how in water, if you crush up glass, it's super visible in air, but in water, it's invisible again. Yeah. And so he's basically talking about how in the like making something invisible in air is a similar process to being something invisible in water. You just have to get to the same like property of it. It's very confusing.
Yeah,
but it made sense reading it.
Like refraction and all that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Some science mumbo jumbo that I don't quite understand.
Sci-fi lies.
Yeah.
And so as he's describing the process of turning things invisible, you also find out that did he kill his father or did he just reap the benefits of his father's death? I was hazy on that part.
From what I read, I think he did kill him.
So he took the inheritance that he got from his father's death to fund his experiments, and it seems like he's done some bad things in that to get that working, but he's just become so obsessed with like pioneering invisibility that he doesn't care what it takes to get it. And so, you know, he's treating his landlord horribly and things are going badly on that front. He like threatens him, like he threatens his landlord.
Same, but
and then eventually, and I also thought this was interesting. In a lot of the things that I've seen, it's just chemicals that make you invisible. But in this book, it's a combination of chemicals and then machinery. And the machinery is used to like vibrations and stuff are used to like take effect. So he's got all this equipment and he does the process on a cat. But the thing with the cat is it doesn't work on the pigments of the cat's eyes or the cat's claws.
Yeah.
So parts of the cat are still visible and it's really scary.
Which that also comes into play with what you were talking about earlier, him explaining how the invisibility works. He has to kind of like always be hidden after he eats.
Right.
Because you'll just be able to see all the food going down before it's digested.
Yeah.
Another thing they're talking about, which I think they also talk about in the movie, is like, I can't really like go out in the rain because the rain will, make me a bit more visible. I can't go out when it's really foggy because it'll, make an outline of
be
me.
Like a bubble in the fog. Yeah.
Can't go out in London because all that air junk is going to get on me.
Yeah, too much soot.
Yeah, too much soot. So yeah,
muddy conditions are bad because his feet become visible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can really only go out at very certain weather conditions.
And even then has to be very cautious about it.
Yeah, because this is what I was thinking about mostly was, if I was invisible, I think I would be just a bit terrified because people wouldn't know not to bump into you all the time.
Exactly.
They just wouldn't know anybody's there. Like, people bump into me enough anyway. I don't know how that happens. I'm 6'2". People see me.
Yeah. He talks about his first day invisible, and he is stumbling downstairs because he can't see his feet and struggling to walk around. And then he's hit by a bunch of different things. People bump into him. He falls into the street and almost gets crushed by a carriage. It's really bad. And so he's kind of freaking out because he's like, oh my gosh, what have I done to myself?
Yeah, man, this kind of sucks. Why did I do this?
Yeah. So, but then things turn around. He starts to view it as power. And this is when he starts to really start losing it. He starts to get on this huge ego trip about how he's gonna rule everybody and he should be the king of this land and can take over everything.
He will be the god of this new world.
Exactly. And so he's telling all this to Kemp, and Kemp is like, this isn't good. But by this point, Kemp has already called the police, unbeknownst to Griffin, the Invisible Man. And so he's kind of eyeing the window, trying to see if they're here, and also keep Griffin talking so he doesn't get suspicious.
Yeah, it's I don't know if it's meant to be read as comedic, but I like the conversation they're having when the police are coming into his house.
Yeah.
Because Kemp is talking to Griffin, and he keeps interrupting him. He's like, hey, did you hear that? And Kemp's like, no, there's nothing going on. Just keep listening to me. He's like, no, I think there's someone in your house. No, there's no one in my house. What are you talking about?
Yeah. You're crazy. I don't know what you mean. And so, yeah, the police get there. Of course, the Invisible Man escapes, and he's understandably very upset at Griffin for calling the police on him.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's very upset at Kemp for calling the police on him, which you can see where he's coming from. He's like, oh, my friend acquaintance, he ratted me out, but it's no, he should have called the police for sure.
Yeah.
And this is where shortly after this, the Invisible Man brings a note and puts it on his door that's basically, I hate you and I'm going to kill you.
I hate you. Please die at 10 p.m.
So now at this point, Kemp is super freaked out. Dr. Kemp is like, this is not good. He's going to kill me. And so the police are trying to guard him and stuff. Kemp has made suggestions about how to catch him. I thought this was interesting, reading the the forward and afterward stuff written by those two other authors that are in that book. It's kind of talked about how he talks about putting crushed glass on the roads and paths.
Evil thought. I read that and I was like, that makes perfect sense, but also, damn, that
because it's he has to go barefoot everywhere, so this is how we'll get him. But also actually reading those, the point is made that it might be more metaphorical, the crushed glass thing, because he's referencing the crushed glass in water and how if it's not in water, it's not invisible. And so he's he might be referencing how we just need to get him in the right situations where he will be visible. So I thought that was interesting.
It just also reads as extremely painful.
Yeah, super brutal.
Yeah, if you've ever stepped on glass, it makes you want to die.
Oh yeah, awful. I have stepped on glass a couple times, and one of those times it was because I dropped a bottle of hot sauce.
Oh no.
That was maybe the worst I've ever been stabbed with anything.
Dude, I would kill myself. That is insane.
It was awful. It was bad.
My goodness.
But so at this point, they're trying to catch the Invisible Man, and he's sort of still doing his reign of terror thing, but very cautiously now, and he's like hiding in farmhouses and stuff and trying to escape. And he, of course, does show up to kill Kemp when he's planning to. In the process, he ends up killing like the chief of police or whatever the head policeman fellow is in this town.
Yeah.
And
he throttles him.
Yeah. And then he takes his gun and he's walking around with his gun, which is funny because it's just a gun floating around.
Yeah. Which that was another thing that I kept pitching that during the movies when we were watching. It was like, yeah, just give the Invisible Man a gun.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool. And they do.
They do.
They do in one of them. I was so proud of them.
And so that he gets in and almost gets Kemp. And Dr. Kemp runs away with one of the other people in the house, and they're escaping together. And you know, they're giving chase and whatever. He's running down a road trying to escape the Invisible Man, and they kind of catch him. Like Kemp catches him and then calls for a bunch of people to help him. And there are a bunch of people there. Like it's the middle of town. And they all, everybody kind of knows at this point that the Invisible Man is here. And so they're all trying to stop him. So they all show up and gang up around him, and they basically kick him to death.
Yeah, they beat him to death in the street.
Yeah.
It's like, you ever see the end of Halloween Kills? Where they're all just beating up old Michael Myers in the street.
Jeez.
It's just that.
Yeah.
Except he doesn't live.
And so it's super brutal. And as he like dies, he becomes visible again, and he's like this just absolutely smashed up corpse, and it's kind of awful.
And he's like super pale because he's bleached.
Yeah. And you would think, well, and he's supposed to be like semi-albino is like a whole thing about him too, is that he's already closer to quote unquote invisible in his mind because he's already so white.
Yeah, because he's not even like a regular white person. He's like a super white person.
Ultra white.
Ultra white.
And so you'd think that that'd be where the book ends, but then there is like a little like
an epilogue.
Yeah. And in the epilogue, it talks about Thomas Marvel and how he's gotten away with all this money that they stole together, and people can't prove that he took it somehow because I guess because the Invisible Man took it. And so he like opens up his own like pub/inn and is just like living his life.
Yeah. And doesn't he call it the Invisible Man?
I think something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a bit messed up.
And so people always go there and try, like they talk to him and he tells the story about the Invisible Man, but a lot of people go to him to try to get the books, the diaries about how invisibility works, but he tells them he doesn't have them.
Yeah.
And you find out at the very end that, oh yes, he actually does. And he's been like trying to read them.
Yeah.
They are encoded. And so who knows if he's actually getting anywhere, but.
Yeah. And I thought, even though it doesn't really make sense, I thought the whole twist was that he was going to be the narrator the whole time.
Yeah, it did kind of feel that way.
Yeah, except there's like there's like entire chapters where he wouldn't really know what's going on.
Right.
And also I think like chapter 8 or something, it's like half a page.
Yeah.
It's just like it's like purposefully lazy, where it's like, yeah, we all kind of know what happens at this point. Stuff gets messed up. All right, next chapter.
Yeah.
Which that was really funny when I read it.
It was.
Again, don't know if that's supposed to be comedic, but I found it comedic.
It felt like it was.
So
yeah.
Good job, Wells.
So that's the book in a nutshell.
Very short book.
It was a very short book.
I read it thrice. I watched the original movie twice.
Yeah.
And then some of the other movies once.
Yeah. I read it once. I watched the original movie once. I watched The Invisible Man Returns once, and I watched the new Invisible Man from when would that have been? 2020, 2018?
2020, I think, because that was the last movie we saw before the pandemic.
That makes sense. And that's what I did. So do you want to talk a little bit about your experience reading this / the movie? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, sure. So I have, for the longest time, been a big fan of the Invisible Man film. I have for very long stated that it was my favorite of the Universal monsters. Don't know if that is still true, but he's definitely up there. I'm also a big fan of the creature.
Those are fantastic.
They're great.
It's very tough between those two. Those are the best ones for sure, in my opinion. The creature movies or the Invisible Man, like, it just doesn't get better.
Yeah, it's so good. I also, of course, have a soft spot for the Frankenstein movies.
Of course.
But yeah, so it was really interesting because, I've seen the original film like countless times at this point. And I had only read the book like a month ago when we decided to do this one. So it was very interesting seeing just how much of it was kind of exactly from the page.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting when you take into account all the other Universal films at the time.
Right.
Which were just making very wild changes.
Yeah, I mean, the Frankenstein films were made by the same, person.
Yeah, same director, yeah.
Same director, and those don't even sort of follow the book.
Yeah, because, there's a whole film about The Bride, which is, one chapter in the book.
Yeah.
Great movie, though.
Great movie.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite of those.
Oh, yeah.
Of the Frankenstein ones.
It's so good. But yeah, so it was just interesting knowing what kind of liberties Universal took at that time with all these, classic horror novels. That this one was very faithful.
Yeah.
The biggest changes really, I don't think Marvel's in it.
Yeah, there really isn't a Thomas Marvel character. They kind of make it he's trying to recruit, which he does try and recruit Dr. Kemp in the movie or in the book.
Yeah.
But they combine some of that where it's all of the stuff that he was trying to do with Thomas Marvel is
It's
now just
now
with Kemp.
With Kemp, yeah.
And Kemp does help him some
Yes, he
in the
does.
movie.
And they also make their relationship a bit different.
Right.
I feel like they're more closer in age. I feel like they've probably had more history together in the film.
Yeah. They make it seem like they've got a stronger connection than just acquaintance.
Also, because it was, a Universal film in the 30s, they have to have a love interest.
Of course.
Don't really care about her one way or the other.
Yeah, that part was... It was interesting rewatching that because I forgot that there even was a love interest. I mean, of course, like you said, it makes sense. That was kind of the structure.
Yeah.
It still largely is the structure of things, but it's it's so unimportant to the story, and he really doesn't care about her.
No, not at all.
He's a different person around her, but it's so obvious that he's just manipulating her.
Yeah, it's kind of hilarious actually because there's a complete tonal switch with him when she shows up, but it's just the briefest thing.
Yeah.
It's oh, what's her name? You're here now. That's awesome. Okay, I'm going to go be evil again.
Anyway, I'm going to take over the world.
Yeah. I'm going to go crash a train, which I think about that a lot. He has an insanely high body count in that movie.
He really does.
Yeah.
He kills almost no one in this book. Surprising, considering, again, I can't remember for certain, but it seems that he implies that he killed his father.
Yeah.
But he kills 2 people as the Invisible Man. And that's it. The majority of the time he's invisible in the book, he's just being kind of a jerk. And that's it.
Yeah, and then if I remember correctly, they actually give a number for how many people he killed on the train alone, and it's like 100 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, of course, he drives Kemp off a cliff.
Which I kind of enjoy that in the movie he is like that, because it really sells why they need to stop him. Like, it makes him this huge threat.
Yeah.
But
like that dude's like straight up evil in that movie.
Yeah. Evil and very difficult to catch.
Yeah. Like they have the same like speech, like monologue about, you know, starting a reign of terror, but it feels a lot more subdued in the novel.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
It's probably just because it's, you know, from the 30s and it's Claude Rains that's giving the speech, but that man is insane in that movie.
He makes that movie great.
Yeah, it's such a like dramatic speech when he gives it, and you can tell like, yeah, of course this man is gonna kill a bunch of people.
He did a fantastic job with that part.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, he is scary, and not like you said, super dramatic, but not like comedically dramatic, not silly.
Yeah,
dramatic.
no,
it feels like, oh man, this guy is crazy. This guy is a lunatic, and he is gonna kill people.
Yeah, you can tell he's like a stage actor,
right?
He's pulling off some like Shakespeare stuff,
and it doesn't feel forced or anything. It feels very like appropriate to the movie.
Yeah. Also, he just looks so cool.
Yeah, they do a great job with his costumes in that movie.
Yeah, the glasses. I'm looking at it. You have pictures of them on your wall right now. Those glasses are so cool.
And
I need them.
They do a really good job with the visual effects, considering it's 1933.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's yeah, I would say maybe the film is more influential to film than the novel is to literature.
That's fair.
Just because, the stuff that they were pulling back then, it is like I can't even comprehend it.
Rewatching it, I struggled to like realize, because I didn't really think about when it was made when I first was seeing it. Like, I've seen it a bunch of times in my like childhood and young adulthood, and I never realized that it was from 1933. That's crazy. And it's like, watching it is wild, because, you know, of course the effects aren't perfect. You can, you know, it's very early movie stuff, but it looks good.
Yeah.
I mean, it is good.
Yeah. Like, you know, sometimes it's a bit see-through. Sometimes like it cuts off like a bit of the collar, but it's like, it doesn't matter because it's movie magic.
Right.
Like, it looks so cool.
Yeah. I can so buy into it. And so that leads us a little bit into, you know, we watched Invisible Man Returns.
Also,
the effects
really good.
in that are great too.
Yeah.
I mean,
also it has Vincent Price.
Yeah.
Love my guy Vincent Price.
His
so
laugh,
much.
fantastic.
Yeah. It was really funny because I had not seen that one in a very long time.
Yeah.
So the whole time I was like, man, I wonder when Vincent Price is going to show up. But of course I'm stupid, and he was on screen the entire time.
Yeah.
But it was just a bit hard to tell because, you know, he's younger.
Yeah.
Because most of his stuff that I've seen is from like the 50s and the 60s. And, you know, this was back in, I think it was either late 30s or early 40s. It was like 39 or 41, something like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, he sounds a bit different. He doesn't have his mustache when we finally get to see him.
Right. He looks quite a bit different.
Yeah, a bit of a bummer, but also, you know, he doesn't really need his mustache because you can't see him. And also, something that you pointed out is they do the effect of him becoming visible again. They do it like it's described in the book in the second movie.
Yeah.
Where you see like his whole body kind of build back together from like the, you know, the blood and the veins and everything.
Yeah, which was very cool. They did a nice job with it.
It's very painterly.
They also did a cool effect with his, like, they have his body wrapped in bandages while he's invisible. And so they have this rigged up so it's like it looks like it's breathing. It's very cool. It's very well done.
It's so cool.
And it's interesting, the concept for that movie too, because it like completely, so instead of it being a remake of the story, it really is like a sequel.
Yeah.
But of course, Griffin, the Invisible Man, dies in the first movie. And so instead, this is like somebody that knew Kemp's work is like, he makes this actually a criminal invisible.
Yeah.
A suspected criminal. He's accused of murder, but he's not actually a murderer.
Yeah, it's Griffin's cousin, isn't
right.
it?
Yeah.
And he turns Vincent Price invisible so that he can escape from prison because he was wrongfully arrested.
Yeah, and he's like going to be killed, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing too. That was so cool. He's like the hero of the story.
Yeah, it's a much different story.
Yeah. It's really good.
And it's interesting. The love interest in that one makes a lot of sense because, you know, he has a fiance or wife,
Yeah. So I think so, yeah.
And he's like trying to get back to her, but he's been wrongfully convicted of this murder. So she's trying to help him, and he loves her and cares about her, but his brain is also being affected by these chemicals, and he's starting to lose it a little bit. Yeah. So
he's like scared about like scaring her because of it. Like he knows that this will make him go crazy, and he's like, you need to get away from here before I do something, like before this changes me into something that you don't want to see.
Yeah, like he has moments of clarity where he's like, this is not good and you need to be away from me. This is bad. What's happening? And then he has moments where he's like losing it and like, I've got all this power, and he's going crazy. And it's a pretty good movie. I like it. I like it a lot.
I really like it. I think the climax is really good, just because of the way that they kill the villain. I'm a big fan of it. And then after that, we stopped watching them together.
Correct.
I watched The Invisible Woman, which I guess I should have expected it because it was the 40s. It's like a romantic comedy.
Of course. Yeah. I vaguely remember that. I haven't seen it since I was in middle school, maybe.
It is a very funny movie.
Yeah.
With some very interesting, mildly racist caricatures.
Nice, of course.
But they do the thing that you were talking about that they do in the novel, which is it's not just chemicals, but it's chemicals and machinery that are involved in the invisibility process.
That's cool.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the big thing of the movie is that some criminals are trying to steal the machine to turn people invisible, but it doesn't work most of the time, and it just gives the guys like a weird falsetto voice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like this mean mobster, and then he comes out of the machine. He's like,
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, that's funny.
It's really good, and they do that to the villain in the end too. They just throw him into the machine, and he comes out, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you."
That's great.
Yeah, it's so good, and unfortunately, that is where I stopped watching the movies.
So I forgot to say, I watched Abbott and Costello meet Abbott and Costello.
Who is
wow? Abbott and Costello meets the Invisible Man.
Yeah, I'm so sad I wasn't able to fit this one in.
It was a great one. They honestly, best visual effects of any of them.
Yeah,
that I've seen, which, both make sense because I think it was one of the later ones that was made.
Yeah.
But also is funny because that movie is just comedy. That's the point of it, is to be comedic. So the fact that they worked so hard to also make it look good is kind of great.
That's just, studios cared back then.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So like some of the effects of becoming invisible and then becoming visible again, I mean, so cool. They did an awesome job with that. Yeah.
And you said that it acts as like a sequel to the original film, right?
It does. It follows the same basic concept as The Invisible Man Returns, but instead of it being like some owner of some business, I don't remember what the business was, he's a boxer.
Oh, okay.
And he's accused of murder. And, of course, wrongfully accused. And same deal, like somebody that knew the original Invisible Man turns him invisible to help him escape, and it's a whole thing. And then Abbott and Costello are there in the capacity of private investigators. They've just become private investigators,
Of course.
and they're like trying to look into this murder, and then they find out that the guy that's on the run for the murder is there the whole time, like the guy that's been hiring them.
Oh my god.
And yeah, so it's great.
I need to watch that.
It's great.
Oh, man. So I know you watched another one, but before we get to that one, I just want to say, and I know I've definitely brought this up before when we've talked about Abbott and Costello. We need that again. We need comedic duos meeting horror villains.
It's great.
And
yeah.
It would make so much money. I don't know why they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take a bit of a detour here, real quick. We're gonna pitch some stuff.
Okay.
So, I want to say first of all, I think Key and Peele, obviously, that's a good one to do.
That's a give me
Yeah.
because I mean,
Yeah, get Jordan Peele back doing comedic stuff. Have them meet, like, I don't know, Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Have Harold and Kumar fight Chucky. Something like that. Rhett
would
and
be
Link
fantastic.
fight Pinhead.
Yeah. This is amazing.
Who else do we have? Any more comedic duos?
I honestly don't know that many. That's something else that we talked about. Like, there definitely are plenty, but it's less like obvious and less marketed that way than it used to be.
Yeah.
Because like Abbott and Costello was like a whole brand that like they did that. They did movies where they Abbott and Costello meets blah blah blah. Does this. Abbott and Costello do that.
Yeah, they were like the Three Stooges if there were two of them.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's just kind of a different thing, but they really should bring that back. It would be wonderful.
Yeah. Man, I'm really trying to think of any more. I said Harold and Kumar, right?
You did. Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of ground that you could cover with them.
Harold and Kumar fight Ghostface.
See, I think the most interesting thing about it would be how different horror is now than it was back then.
Yeah.
And just like combining those ideas.
I just had, freaking brain blast right here. Harold and Kumar fight Ghostface, right?
Yeah.
And Ghostface is usually two people.
Right.
So the two people are a different comedic duo.
That's really funny.
Yeah, it's like Jordan Peele and freaking the other one.
You could also do
Keegan-Michael Key. There, I had to get.
You could do Harold and Kumar fight or meet Ghostface, but Ghostface is Harold and Kumar, so it's only ever one of them.
I just genuinely don't know.
Like, yeah, they're just swapping back and forth. It could be amazing. This could be amazing,
man. Yeah. Anyway, you watched the Lee Winnell 2020 Invisible Man.
I did. It is. I love that one.
Oh, it's. So
I love it so much. There was a time where I probably would have said I like it better than the original Invisible Man movie.
No way.
But no, not anymore. After rewatching it, I still love it. I think it's a great movie. So suspenseful, so cool. The ending is wonderful. I love how it wraps up.
Dude, the restaurant scene, I still think about that all the time.
Brutal.
She's talking with her sister. Oh my God.
Yeah, that hurts. And it's well written, well acted.
Yeah. And it is a movie that is like saying something.
Yeah.
Like not something original, but still it's interesting to see. Yeah, we're going to do a universal monster, but now it's about domestic abuse.
Yeah. And the inescapability of it.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting.
The paranoia of it all. It's.
And yeah, it's such a good concept too, because everybody's kind of telling her like, no, you're like they're not saying you're crazy, but that's what they're saying. They're saying you're crazy, you're fine, dude's gone, like he's out of your life, you don't have to worry. And then later she finds out that he's dead, except he's not. But everybody's like, you're crazy, he's dead, stop worrying. But nope, he's invisible.
Yeah.
He's got an invisibility suit. And
Yeah.
while I can understand that from a perspective of making a modern movie, it makes the most sense of like a modern invisibility story.
Yeah.
It's not as fun. I don't like that as much as chemicals in a weird machine. You know, it's just not, it doesn't have that sci-fi that I love.
It makes me wonder, though, when this book was written, I wonder if scientists in general, or maybe just the idea of a mad scientist, like, is equal to what we think of now as like a tech bro.
Yeah, that's funny.
Because
I mean, I could
that's
see
what he
it.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if that's like basically the same thing, that's kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
And that kind of paints a lot of history in a new light for me.
That's
So
fair.
I'm
Yeah.
not even going to research it. I'm just going to go with that.
Yeah.
That's in my head now. That's truth.
But so to bring us back around to the book,
Oh yeah, we read a book.
I really enjoyed this book.
Yes.
I thought it was great. It was everything that I wanted it to be, and it gave me some new context for watching the movies too, which I enjoyed. After researching it a little bit and reading up on some different things about the book and different people's thoughts and opinions on it, I thought it was interesting. Like, so, you know, obviously there are things to be drawn about, like anonymity
Yes.
and what it can be like to be anonymous. So people were making comparisons to that and what it's like to be on the internet, on social media and things like that. And I thought that was interesting.
Okay.
Like basically how people act differently when they don't feel like they can be seen. You know, like if they feeling like you're invisible, like you can be invisible, and the power that comes with that, you do things that you wouldn't necessarily do otherwise. You feel the freedom to,
Yeah.
which isn't necessarily a good thing. As you can see in the book, like he takes, like, he's maybe not a good guy to begin with, but with the freedom that comes with him being invisible, he becomes like a terrible person.
Yeah, he really takes advantage of it.
And so that's kind of mirrored in the way some people behave online. Like, obviously not everyone, obviously that's just, you know, specific people, but some people take that as like there are no consequences now. And it was an interesting comparison. I kind of liked that.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that you bring that up because one of the things that I was really thinking about on basically all three of my read-throughs, and it's based mostly on a more modern interpretation of what like I'm a super smart guy kind of dude is, but then kind of putting that back into when this takes place. And I imagine invisibility less as like, oh, I'm taking advantage of stuff, and more like, oh, woe is me, societal rejection, existential alienation, that type of deal.
Yeah, I can see that.
But it's just he forces it upon himself.
Right.
Because a lot of that, especially not in the beginning of the novel, but the beginning of his process of being invisible, it is a lot of like, man, this really sucks. My life is the worst. And also, man, I'm so much smarter than all you guys. You guys couldn't possibly understand my struggles.
Yeah.
And it is just like, yeah, but you did this to yourself.
Right.
Man.
Yeah. And I really liked that, the way that is handled, like the fact that he did it to himself, but what he's experiencing when it first happens. Because that part was the scariest part of reading that, like imagining myself turning invisible. Like, that's such a freaky idea.
Yeah, because the way that they describe it in the book, it's like, it's painful.
Yeah.
And it takes a long time.
Yeah. What was it, like 2 or 3 days, right, for it to finish?
Of him just kind of like laying in agony. He's like, he's talking about like, at some point I didn't really care if I died or not because it was just so much pain.
Yeah.
And then he woke up invisible and decided to be a bit of an ass about it.
And so something that I picked up on myself, but also was mirrored in a lot of the stuff I was reading, is that it's like a lot of the theme of this book is like fearing what we don't understand.
Yeah.
Just makes sense. Obviously not a crazy new idea, but interesting for sure. Like how, especially in the beginning of the book, they don't know what's going on with this guy, so they don't trust him. They have all these crazy ideas about him, and then the more they find out about him, the more they don't understand him, and the more that they're just terrified of him.
Yeah.
And then of course it culminates in the end with beating him to death. And not to say that he wasn't the bad guy of this book, because he is, but at the end, like, the crowd, the people of the town become the bad guys because they took it too far. This didn't have to happen, but it was just their fear that motivated them to do this.
Yeah. And so to kind of piggyback off that, I guess, do we know when this was written? I feel like it was like late 1800s.
It was, I believe, 1897.
Okay. So I don't really know what the scientific community was like at that time.
Yeah.
But I feel if this works out historically, perhaps there's a chance that is just kind of a reaction to like just new science at the time, where it's like, we don't understand all this new scientific mumbo jumbo, so therefore we're going to be scared of it. We're going to make it the villain.
I would definitely agree with that. Yeah. I feel like that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but of course I don't know what it was like back then. So.
And from reading a little bit about Wells, which I don't know that much about H.G. Wells, other than that I know that he does know science. He was a science teacher.
Really?
At one point, he ended up writing because he got sick. And he had written before, but he because he was kind of bedridden for a while, he needed something to do to make money, and so he started writing.
It's like, I'm kind of sick. I'm just gonna pop off for a little bit.
Yeah,
just gonna write a whole bunch of real big hits.
And I guess later in his life, like most of his big hits apparently are from the very beginning of his writing career. A lot of the stuff he wrote later,
I hate him.
Is
hate him
like.
So much. I hate that.
Yeah.
You can't just be good right off the bat.
And so I guess a lot of the stuff he wrote later was kind of a different style of book. And I know he wrote textbooks and other things like that. So it's, just very interesting. But a lot of the stuff he wrote was kind of about basically people not understanding science or like the world and how it works and stuff like that. So I thought that was interesting, and it kind of fits with this book. That's very much what it's about. Obviously a big theme, power corrupting.
Oh yeah.
He feels super powerful because of this invisibility, and it gives him a license to do whatever he wants. But something else that I thought was interesting that I picked up on, but didn't really realize the full extent until I was doing some research. The Invisible Man, you can also think about as being Thomas Marvel. And the reason being because he's like this vagabond tramp guy that, he's an unhoused person that, he's just alone, basically. He doesn't have any friends. He doesn't have any support. He doesn't have a job. He's like, when you first meet him, he's wishing he had new boots because it's cold and, his boots suck.
Yeah, no.
And he's trying to get these boots. And like, he's the kind of person you wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
And goes completely unnoticed.
Until he begins to be trouble for people.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I thought that was a really interesting, like, way to look at the book.
Yeah, because I guess, you wouldn't notice the Invisible Man unless he was messing with you.
Right. So just, kind of cool things about that. And then one more thought that I had, the Invisible Man, he talks about how he's like practically albino. Mm-hmm. And he talks about that as, something that he felt like led him towards the idea of becoming invisible. And gave him like a leg up in some ways or whatever on that. But he also talks about how, like, he briefly talks about how he was sort of ostracized because of it. Mm. And it made me think about, like, okay, did he already feel invisible to the world because of his condition, which is an interesting thing.
Yeah.
So all in all, really enjoyed this book, and I'm glad we read it.
Yeah, it's a classic for a reason.
Yeah, 100%.
Give it a read. It's like 200 pages. It'll take you a couple hours.
Yeah.
Watch the movie. Watch all the movies.
Definitely watch the movies.
Even the ones that we didn't get to watch. Like the freaking Nazi one.
Yeah.
The one that I wanted to watch so bad.
Yeah, I can't believe you didn't end up watching that one.
It's insane. I'm probably going to watch it like tonight.
You totally should.
Now that it's of no use to me. I feel no stress now.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to watch it. I'm probably going to love it so much. Because all I know is that he's an invisible man who like infiltrates like the German army in World War II.
What a wild idea.
Yeah.
I love that.
And
I love that they made movies like that.
Yeah. That's something else. I just want to bring up real quick. We don't have to go on much of a tangent, but it's insane that they did not make any Invisible Man movies when they were doing all the Hammer horror movies.
That's a fair point.
What is up with that? They had 1 million Draculas. They had 1 billion Frankensteins. They had like 2 Mummy movies.
Yeah.
No Gilman. No Invisible Man. What's up with that?
And
Christopher
I
Lee would have
truly
been
think
amazing.
You're so
Yeah.
right.
Or Peter Cushing.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That would have been great. I mean, truly, I love the idea of the Invisible Man. It's just such a good horror movie idea. Such an easy like idea because the idea of just something being invisible can be inherently scary. Like an unseen threat.
Yeah.
There's so much easy stuff you can do with that. So many cool visual bits because like there's so many things you can do with the idea of like there's nothing there, but through music or other cues you can make it seem like something is.
Yeah.
And you just never know. I love those ideas.
That's like the whole thing with the Lee Winnell one.
Yeah.
Where you can't see him, but you know he's there because you can like see his breath.
Yeah.
It's like stuff like that.
Fantastic.
Man.
And there are multiple times in that movie where they talk about like he's probably in this room, like he's definitely here, but there's nothing about what's going on to tell you that he is.
Yeah.
And I love that.
One more thing I'd like to pitch real quick. We are recording this in January of 2025.
Correct.
Nosferatu just came out, the Robert Eggers movie. Robert Eggers should make an Invisible Man movie, do it like period accurate. I would eat that up all day.
Yeah, I would love to see a period accurate version of this just because like even the 30s one isn't. Like they have cars in that one. It's modern for its time with its setting. And I would love to see what they would do with it if it were actually set in 1897.
Yeah,
That's very interesting.
Yeah, Bobby, hit me up. I have so many ideas. We can work on this together. You got my number.
And with that, I think it's time for us to move on to our game.
Yes,
So
I am very excited to know what this game is about.
This game, what we're going to be doing is I have a box, right? And you're going to have to reach in it and figure out what's inside.
Okay.
And so what I'm going to give you, right, we're going to do best 3 of 5. So I'm going to give you 5 things. If you can guess 3 of them, you win.
Okay. Do you want to go ahead and state what the punishment is?
Yeah. So the punishment this time, we really struggled to come up with. Basically, what we're going to do is the loser is going to be
shot in the face.
Shot in the face with a Nerf gun. So they'll be blindfolded. They won't know when it's coming. And basically, it's just a torment of not sure what's going to happen when.
Yeah. You won't be able to see because of invisibility.
Classic.
All right.
So we're back and we're getting ready to get started here.
Yeah.
So Joey has his face covered so that he doesn't see anything while I'm putting the stuff in.
Oh, should I take my glasses off?
Whatever works for you.
Yeah. It's not really going to make a difference at this point, but. Yeah.
So what I've got here is a box that I've cut a hole in.
Nice.
And Joey's going to reach in the side of it and find the object that I put in there and try and guess what it is. So, round 1. This is a seashell. I'm going to hand you the box.
Oh, so I get to shake it? It's about this size, right? Oh, I almost nailed it.
You really did nail it.
All right. I am holding, I was going to say box number 1, but it's the same box. And inside this box is item number 1. This, it's a bit hard, and it's a bit round. And this is a freaking seashell sold by the seashore. Am I right?
You nailed it.
Yeah.
I wanted to start you off with an easy one. Hopefully they get harder.
I hope so. I love it when things get harder.
All right, here we are, prepared for round 2. This is a finger puppet of Bob Ross.
I remembered. It's this. Oh, yeah. Perfect size. For those who can't see, which is all of you and also me, I'm holding my hands out at the exact width of this box, and I'm nailing it every time. Item number 2. Oh. All right, so it's okay, so it feels like a doll. It has maybe a dress. It's got a fuzzy head. It has something on the side of it that feels like the shape of a heart. Or, well, yeah, it feels almost like a heart attached to a hand. So it's like a doll of some sort. Perhaps it is there's also something hard. This might be a nose. Or oh no, hold up. Is this a... Is this like one of your pet's toys? That is like a little doll with... Is that a tail? Oh. This is probably really dumb for you.
I love it.
I like put my finger in it. Is it like a finger puppet?
What do you want to lock in with? You got to lock in with a guess here at the end here.
I'm going to take it out. I'm not going to be able to see it, but I'm going to take it out and you tell me, does it look like a finger puppet?
I mean, I don't feel like I can say one way or another.
Fair enough. Man. See, there's like this little cube bit at the end of what could be, because it's 1, 2. Okay, so 2 arms and a head. So this is like a little doll, possibly a doll for, I'm guessing, one of your pets, like a little chew toy or something like that. That is what I'm locking in.
You're going to go with chew toy?
Sure, yeah.
It is a finger puppet.
God damn it.
And I feel like I had to let you fail, because otherwise this was going to be unfair rolling the other way. So
how did I guess a finger puppet?
I really didn't think you were going to.
I was just sticking my finger in places it shouldn't be.
And then I was overjoyed when you decided to revise that. And that's why I had to make you pick something, because if we were just going by like what you say,
What is it a finger puppet of?
I'll tell you right now, it's Bob Ross.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
It was given to me for Christmas.
Was that his nose, or does he only have one eye?
I believe that was his nose that you were feeling.
Okay. He's got a really hard nose then. Is it made of plaster, possibly? Like
possibly.
The Invisible Man who's got a plaster nose.
His nose really is hard. That's weird.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
All right, time for item number 3. This is nail polish.
All right, put it in. Oh, yeah. I'm so good at this. What the hell? All right, so it doesn't twist around. This is nail polish.
Wow. So you're guessing nail polish?
Yeah, I'm guessing.
You got it.
Yeah. I was going to say if it's like a varnish or something, I was like, I'm going to punch you.
So right now where we're at, you have two correct and one wrong.
Incorrect. So I just need one more, and then I get to blast your face.
All right. It is time for item number 4. This is a facial massager.
Yeah. Oh,
That was my bad. You still nailed it.
Yeah. All right. Item number 4. Oh, this has got some heft to it. It's a little rolly bit at the end, and at this end, it is also a rolly bit. I have to be honest, I don't know what this would be used for, Tim. I can tell like what it is. I just don't know what it is.
I don't want to be too hard on you, but I do kind of need you to guess what it is.
Yeah.
I feel like you probably would have seen these around.
It's like, so for the audience, it's like a metal tube, but at both ends are like little rolling pins. One of them is slightly larger than the other. Is this like an artist's tool of some sort, possibly for like a charcoal or a paint?
Is that what you're locking in
That's
with?
what I'm going to lock in with. Also, hold on, is there something else in here?
Shouldn't be.
Oh, it's just like part of the box.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're so this tool, it's not for art. It is a facial massager, skin massager kind of thing.
Oh.
All right, so this has come down exactly how we want it to for peak viewership right now.
Yeah.
It is 2-2.
Am I going to make it?
Here's our final item.
Or am I going to die?
This is a penguin figurine, specifically from Batman Returns.
Oh, yeah. 5 for 5 on that, though. That's still good. It fits like a glove. This is... All right, so it's a little statue. I need to figure out what it is of, though. So there's... that might be an arm, and that might also be an arm. This is a little head. Is there a tail? There's some bumps on the back. It could possibly be like a little metal Godzilla figurine of some sort. But no, that arm feels a bit too Finnish, as in a Finn, not from Finland. Also, I'm looking at this from the wrong perspective. Could be something like that. It is, I'm going to lock in right now. This is a little metal figurine of a penguin.
You nailed it. So that means you win.
My God.
Now, I'm going to ask you right now, can you guess what it's from?
Ooh.
This is for a bonus point. If you win this, if you guess what it's from, you get to shoot me twice.
Ooh. Okay, so let me just throw a few ideas out there. It's a Monopoly piece. It's a Batman thing. It's a promotional toy from the film Happy Feet, or March of the Penguins, or Mr. Popper's Penguins, or the HBO limited series The Penguin, starring Colin Farrell as the Penguin. Probably not that one, though. Probably not the Mr. Popper's Penguins. Maybe Happy Feet. I'm going to say no to the Batman thing. So it's either Happy Feet or a Monopoly piece. I'm going to say it's from, you bought it at an aquarium.
Nice. Incorrect.
Yeah.
I will tell you what it is. It is from Batman Returns.
Son of a bitch.
It is a penguin with a missile on its back.
God.
I really was so impressed when you said Batman. I thought you had it.
That was literally my first thought, and I said it like third. Oh,
That's
so
amazing.
upset with myself. Now I only get to shoot you once.
You only get to shoot me once. Yep, so you are the winner. It is time for us to get prepared for me to get shot. So
Yay.
I guess let me get something I can blindfold myself with, and we'll get back to it.
Okay, so we were looking for a Nerf pistol. Too much effort. We decided the easier route, Nerf bolt-action rifle.
Yeah. So punishment time.
Punishment time. And I wanted to get this sound because it's going to be great. All right, we are recording.
Oh, I'm already nervous. I hate this.
It's fine, Tim.
I just hate it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
All right, we're going to do this real quick, okay?
I'm tensing.
All right. We're going to do this real quick. Real quick.
Yeah, real
quick. All right, you ready?
Uh-huh.
All right, we're going to do a countdown.
Okay.
All right, we're going to do 20, 12, 6.
This is good counting. You're really good at this.
Let me make sure we're still recording. Yeah, we're still recording.
Gosh.
All
Okay.
right, we're going to go, where were we? 6, 7, 6, 5. Let's do 6. All right, I think it's we're being mean to Tim at this point, so I think
I hate it so
we're
much.
just gonna like a.
Oh, that was a solid. That really. I mean, great shot, dude. Great shot, but like, that hurt more than I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
Oh man, that stings. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Nerf came out with some guns that
Hurt like hell.
they really cranked up the power on those, and that's what I just got shot with.
Yeah, I was trying to aim near the eye, but not at the eye.
Yeah, good call. Thanks for not hitting me in the eye. That really would have hurt.
Yeah.
And you got it where the skin is really thin too. Jeez. All right. So that was the punishment. I feel properly punished. And I guess we'll come back for closing remarks.
Yeah, that was fun.
All right. And we're back, everybody.
We're back. We all had fun. Fun times were had. People were blasted in the face. You got
loved that.
bolt action rifled to the dome. And we had a great time.
Everybody loved it.
Everybody loved it.
So that was The Invisible Man. That was our 5th book in this season.
Yeah. We're almost at the end.
One more to go.
One more. Only one tiny little not scary at all book to do.
Yeah, definitely didn't save the biggest, most intense one for last.
Yeah.
Which is smart that we did that, honestly, because now that we've started to figure out our format and formula, hopefully we'll be able to cover this well.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
It would have been a nightmare doing it in the beginning.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you want to do rankings?
Yeah, let's wrap this up with some rankings.
All right, have at it.
Yeah, so I believe where I left it, my number 1 was still The Gods Themselves.
Okay.
And then right below that, I had, I believe, Hunt for Red October.
Okay.
And then below that, we've got The Roadside Picnic.
Mm-hmm.
Had to remember what that one was called. I never remember that title. And then below that, I had Neuromancer. Neuromancer was my bottom.
Yeah.
And I think I actually put it like at our number 6 slot.
That still hurts.
I'm going to say I didn't like this as much as The Gods Themselves, but I'd say I liked it more than everything else. So I'm going to say number 1, The Gods Themselves. Number 2, Invisible Man. Number 3, Hunt for Red October. Number 4 is going to be Roadside Picnic. And then, Neuromancer is at the end there. We'll see what happens.
All right. And then for me, coming in not at number 5, we have Roadside Picnic. Wow, what a trash heap. That's probably a good book. Number 4, we have Hunt for Red October. Number 3, coming in mild, we have The Gods Themselves. Number 2 is Invisible Man. Number 1, forever number 1 in my heart, best book ever, Neuromancer. Yeah.
All right. I really love that we have gone different directions with this.
I really hate how much you don't like my favorite book.
I'll give it another try after we're done with this season, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, so off to a roaring start here. Really enjoying a lot of what we've been doing here. It's been a fun time. Mm-hmm. Excited about this last book. Mm-hmm. Nervous about this last book.
Mm-hmm. What is this last book? Let me tell you. Thanks for asking. The final book of this season is House of Leaves, the book, the novel, that one that your friend who spends way too much time online tells you about and says, man, that book's real weird. It's formatted weird. They're right. It is. And we're going to read it.
It's a big book, and just flipping through it, it looks wild. Seems like it's probably going to be confusing.
I hope so.
And we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see what happens. Now, you've started this book before.
I have. Did not get far.
Yeah. So it'll be an interesting episode. I can say that for sure. And I am so glad that it's you that has to come up with everything for this episode, because I'm so glad to just be the passenger.
Yeah. Joke's on you, though. I've already come up with everything.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lie. I don't have the drink idea yet.
Okay, fair enough.
But I have the game. We hopefully already know the punishment.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens.
And we'll see you next time.
If anybody has anything that they want to say about this book, anything they want to talk to us about with it, feel free to reach out to us in the comments / Q&A section of Spotify and or YouTube,
which has a Q&A section, which I kind of forgot about.
And anybody that wants to reach out to us to give us book ideas, to talk to us about anything else regarding the podcast, feel free to email us at bookclubnono@gmail.com.
Yeah, you'll know it's us if you see the name is Blobbert Optional. That's us. That's the real, that's the legit, the one and only, two and only us. Blobbert and Optional.
And with that, we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, and now, okay. This is, I don't know what the items are anymore. What was the first thing?
The first one was a seashell.
Oh,